Welcome back to Kuma English Listening Hub. Today's topic is about a technology you probably use without thinking too much about it, yet it feels completely different from a phone or laptop screen. I'm talking about e-ink, also known as electronic paper. At first glance, e-ink seems almost old-fashioned. The page doesn't glow, animations look clunky, scrolling is not smooth. And yet, millions of people choose e-ink devices on purpose for reading, note-taking, planning, and even work. So why would anyone prefer a screen that is designed to be slow? To understand this, we need to separate two ideas that people often mix together: display quality and display speed. Modern LCD and OLED screens are built for rapid change. They refresh many times per second, making video, gaming, and fast scrolling feel effortless. E-ink, in contrast, is built for stability. It is designed to hold an image without constantly refreshing it. That one design choice changes everything about how it feels to use. Let's start with what e-ink actually is. In a typical e-ink display, there are tiny capsules, sometimes described as microcapsules, embedded in a thin layer. Inside each capsule are particles with opposite electrical charges, usually white particles and black particles. When the device applies an electric field, it pulls either the white or the black particles to the top surface. What you see is simply whichever particles are currently facing you. The key detail is this: once the particles are in place, they stay there without needing continuous power. That's why e-readers can last weeks on a single charge. They don't need to keep drawing the image. They only need power when the page changes. This also explains why e-ink looks so paper-like. With a backlit phone, your eyes are looking into a light source. With e-ink, you're looking at reflected light, the same way you look at a newspaper or a notebook. Under a desk lamp or sunlight, an e-ink screen can become more readable, not less. That is the opposite of many glossy displays that turn into mirrors outdoors. Now let's talk about the slow part. When you turn a page on an e-reader, the device has to move a huge number of particles to new positions. That takes time. It's not just switching pixels on and off instantly, it's physically rearranging pigment particles. Older e-ink displays had obvious flashing, where the whole screen would briefly go black or white. That flash wasn't a bug. It was a cleaning step, resetting the particles to reduce ghosting. Ghosting is another important concept. Because e-ink doesn't refresh continuously, faint traces of the previous page can remain. Manufacturers use different refresh modes to balance clarity against speed. If the device refreshes fully, the page is crisp, but you get more flashing and a slower feel. If it refreshes partially, it feels faster, but ghosting becomes more likely. So, why would anyone accept these limitations? One reason is attention. E-ink is not just a display technology, it is often a design philosophy. Many e-ink devices are intentionally narrow in function. They're built for reading, writing, or reviewing documents, not for juggling 30 tabs and 3 messaging apps. This doesn't mean e-ink magically improves your self-control, but it changes the environment you're in. When the screen is not optimized for video and constant motion, the temptation to drift into endless feeds becomes weaker. It is harder to mindlessly scroll when scrolling is slightly inconvenient. A second reason is comfort. People often describe e-ink as easier on the eyes, especially for long reading sessions. Some of this is subjective, but there are plausible explanations. There is less glare, less blue light, and fewer rapid brightness changes. Also, e-ink encourages steadier reading habits. You're not constantly distracted by pop-ups, notifications, and animated elements. However, we should be careful. Eye strain is complicated. It depends on font size, lighting, posture, blink rate, and how long you focus without breaks. An e-ink screen can still cause strain if you read for hours in poor lighting or in an awkward position. Yet, many readers find the experience calmer and less fatiguing. Now, e-ink has expanded far beyond basic e-readers. One interesting area is digital note-taking. Devices like e-ink tablets try to reproduce the feeling of writing on paper. They use a stylus and a textured screen surface to create friction, so the pen doesn't slide like it does on glass. The goal is to make writing feel deliberate. But here, the slow philosophy creates trade-offs. On an iPad, handwriting can be perfectly smooth and instantly converted into searchable text. On an e.ink tablet, writing can feel more natural, but the device may respond with slight delay, especially when the page is complex. Again, it's a choice: speed and versatility versus focus and endurance. Another surprising use is signage. Some stores and offices use e-ink displays as price tags or information boards. The advantage is not beauty, it's efficiency. If a sign changes only a few times a day, why power a bright LCD all day long? E-Ink signage can run for months or even years on minimal energy, and it stays readable under strong lights. This leads us to a bigger theme. Not all innovation is about being faster. Sometimes the most modern choice is to slow down. In a world where devices compete for attention, E-Ink competes by refusing to compete. It quietly says, "I will show you text clearly, and I will not try to entertain you." Of course, E-Ink is not perfect. Color E-Ink exists, but it's still developing. Color layers can reduce contrast, making text less sharp. Refresh rates for color are often slower, which limits practical use for anything that moves. Then, there is cost. High-quality E-Ink panels can be expensive, and the market is smaller than phones and laptops, so economies of scale are limited. There's also the question of flexibility. Researchers have experimented with bendable electronic paper, and some products exist, but widespread flexible e-ink is still not common. Durability, manufacturing complexity, and touch sensitivity make it challenging. Let's compare e-ink with another paper-like approach: matte LCD or reflective LCD. Some tablets use special coatings or reflective layers to reduce glare and mimic paper. These can be brighter and faster than e-ink, and they can show video. But they usually can't match e-ink's ultra-low power draw when static, and they still don't look quite the same under sunlight. So, how should you decide if e-ink is right for you? Ask yourself what you want the device to do. If you mainly read long books, review PDFs, or take focused notes, e-ink can be a game changer. If you need fast web browsing, multitasking, color accuracy, or media, e-ink will probably frustrate you. A useful way to think about it is this: e-ink devices are not trying to replace your phone, they are trying to replace your paper. That's a different mission with different priorities. Paper is not fast, but it is stable. It doesn't buzz, it doesn't update itself, and it doesn't invite you to click on anything. There's also an environmental question people often raise. Because e-ink devices last a long time between charges, they seem more eco-friendly. But sustainability depends on the whole life cycle: manufacturing, shipping, repairability, and how many devices you own. If you buy an e-reader and keep it for 8 years, replacing hundreds of printed books you would have bought new, the impact could be positive. If you buy multiple gadgets and upgrade often, the benefit shrinks. Interestingly, many e-ink users develop rituals that resemble older reading habits. They read in the morning without notifications. They keep a digital notebook that doesn't become an endless archive of random files, but a curated place for thoughts. They finish chapters more often because there is less friction around staying with the text. And that brings us back to the quiet revolution. E-ink is not exciting in the way a new camera lens or a faster processor is exciting. It doesn't win by dazzling you. It wins by disappearing. When the screen looks like paper, you stop noticing the technology and start noticing the words. Before we end, here's a small listening challenge. Think of a tool you use every day. Now ask, is it designed to speed me up or to steady me? Many tools promise efficiency, but some of the best tools reduce noise rather than adding features. If you enjoyed this episode, try summarizing it in your own words. What is the main reason ink feels different from a typical screen? And what kind of person would benefit the most from a slow screen? Thanks for listening to Kuma English Listening Hub. See you in the next episode.